Front and Center. Front and Center. A focus on important and significant developments affecting the lives of Filipinos, not only in the Philippines, but also those living and working around the world. Join us in Front and Center. Front and Center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Welcome to Front and Center, where we focus on developments in the Philippines, legislation that provides policies and directions that strives to promote a better economy for the country, issues that concern the welfare and well-being of every Filipino. All of these and more will be Front and Center. And you can watch this program on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. That's Radyo Pilipinas World Service. And you can hear this broadcast on our audio streaming through PBS Evox receiver app. Also on our shortwave broadcast through shortwave frequencies. That's 12.020 megahertz, 15.640 megahertz, and 17.665 megahertz. And this is your host, Jerome Toledo. Let's begin Front and Center on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Front and Center. Front and Center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
And as we face the issue of the Middle East crisis affecting globally, but not locally, but globally, we are looking beyond our borders because what happens in the Middle East doesn't stay in the Middle East. It's a chain reaction and hit us right at home. And with global oil prices fluctuating and the safety of millions of our overseas Filipino workers at the top of the agenda, what we need to know is the Philippines economy ready for the shockwaves caused by the Middle East conflict. And also yesterday there was a inflation report released by the Philippines Statistics Authority that says that the inflation rate for February reached at 2.4%. So that's a 0.4% increase last January, which was recorded at 2%. So in the issue of the Middle East conflict concerns, and also to break down the numbers and the strategy of the Philippine government when it comes to the situation, the Undersecretary for Policy and Planning Group of the Department of Economy, Planning and Development, Undersecretary Rosemary Edilion joins us live. Good morning, Yusek Edilion. Thank you so much for joining us in the program Front and Center on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Yes, hi, good morning, Jerome, and good morning to all those who are listening in.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so but before we head into the discussion regarding the Middle East conflict, so yesterday PSA released a report that says that the inflation rate reached at 2.4% in February. That's 0.4% increase by the January inflation report. That's 2%. But just to make sure, Undersecretary Edilion, just to make this clear, so the 2.4% is not yet the effect of the Middle East crisis, but rather food prices that is increasing.
Yeah, that's right. It's the February inflation rate, meaning the average prices in February of this year versus the prices in consumer prices in February of last year, and therefore we still do not have the impact of the Middle East crisis.
And also, Yusek Edilion, we will feel the impact of the Middle East crisis when the inflation report will be released next month. Is that right?
That's right. So we expect it to start kicking in this March. For February, the biggest contributor to inflation was actually fish and seafood. And it's really because we still have a closed fishing season in some parts of the country. But pretty soon that will soon be lifted again, sometime this March, and therefore we hope that will ease out. The good news though is that the pressure from meat prices has actually let up, and thanks to the rollout of the vaccine on the ASF, and that has actually led to a deflation on meat prices.
Okay, that's a good thing that agricultural food prices are going down. Hopefully, by next month. Although, Yusek Edilion, the oil prices, which is one of the main contributors in the inflation price index, or the rate of price index, it may affect the next reporting of inflation for next month. What will be the expected or average inflation percentage?
Yeah, that's correct. So we do expect some, of course, an impact of this of the oil price uh, hikes.
Mm-mm.
Uh, but I think for now it's important that we first roll out those measures to make sure that we mitigate first the negative impact, and that's why the measures that we have recommended to the president, and actually is already this was already discussed during the last special cabinet meeting. First of all, roll out the measures to reduce fuel
Mm.
consumption. First by government, and we hope that the private sector will follow suit. We know that some local government units are already doing it as well. So if we can
Mm.
reduce fuel consumption, in the case of the city of Manila, Mayor Isko actually issued an executive order mandating a 50% reduction in fuel consumption. So in the case of national government agency, the directive is we're still looking at a 10% reduction, and hopefully more than that. And then if so, as you know, we do have a buffer stock for oil, and so
Mm.
what needs to happen now is we extend that the life of that the lifespan of that buffer stock by like I said, practicing conservation
Mm.
measures,
Mm.
and then uh, once the prices uh, start to be kind of
Mm.
the price increase.
Slow down.
If it reaches a certain point, then
Mm.
we are ready to implement the fuel subsidy program. First to again the vulnerable, the producers of our food, so that we can mitigate again the impact on food prices, and then the transport operators again, so that we can mitigate the impact on other
Mm.
sectors. Yeah, and then
Mm.
we're still discussing about the trigger mechanism. So we will be working with Congress so that they can
Mm.
give an emergency, some powers to the government
Okay.
to work on the excise tax, whether to lift it temporarily
Mm.
in order to reduce the retail price, the pump price
Mm.
of fuel.
All right. And
Once it reaches a certain, again, it reaches a certain level. So that level is still to be
Okay,
agreed upon.
okay. That's the goal of the government, is to reduce the impact of the Middle East conflict, particularly in food prices, also in oil prices. Okay, all right. So going to the main discussion regarding the Middle East conflict, because as we know, Middle East is the one of the is a region that supplies or provide supply for the world's global supply. So, and also we have seen oil prices creeping up again due to the tensions, Yusek Edilion. So, and also oil companies and even the energy department warns that oil prices in the few coming weeks or months, if not, we hope not, will shoot up. So, with the Philippines being the net oil importer, how does this price movements and this conflict itself may affect the inflation targets for 2026 in its entirety?
Mhm. Yeah. So what will be most affected really is uh, the the oil supply that uses the Strait of Hormuz. So as you know, we actually do not source our oil from Iran because of the sanction on Iran. So it's really the logistics making it even more expensive to get the oil, to obtain the oil. It's been said that about 20% of global oil supply uses that Strait of Hormuz. And so what we need to do now is to make sure that we can get into some agreement with the other oil exporting countries, so
Mm-hmm.
that again to dampen the negative impact of that crisis. Um, but we're also very concerned, of course, that I think one of the DOE has been discussing also with the oil companies, the retailers, in fact, if they can stagger the oil prices, the oil price hikes, so that it doesn't reflect right away on the pump price. And again, this all depends on how much buffer there will be, and if the consumers will will do panic buying, and so it will it uh, we use up the buffer stock right away. And so that's actually the important thing to do now, to first be calm, uh, each one doing his part, so that we conserve energy, conserve in particular fuel. Again, maximize the use of our renewable energy sources, maximize the use of electric vehicles, so that again we
Mm-hmm.
reduce the demand for imported oil.
Okay. I understand, Yusek Idilion, that our oil supply, which the president says, President Marcos Jr. said, it will last up to 50 days.
Mhm.
Uh,
Correct.
and also
Even
we
our
are heading
current
into
consumption, yes.
summer months. So what's gonna be the problem here? Um, and also the Middle East conflict is still ongoing, and we don't know how soon it will end.
Mhm. Yes, that's right. And
Uh-uh.
so it's really important that one, this early we take measures in order to reduce our consumption, reduce the demand for this oil, so that like I said, that 50 to 60 days of buffer stock that we have, if we can prolong that, even extend that even longer, and that's really by given your current consumption, if you can
Mm.
reduce it by 10%, or even more, then that will be a big help.
Mm.
Each one
Okay.
actually, and that's why we have also been recommending that, for first of all, for government, and then hopefully the private sector will also
Okay.
chime in, that we again make use of shuttle buses, we make use of school buses for our children,
Okay.
we make use of carpooling, and even flexible work arrangements. But for the flexible work arrangements, we also want to emphasize that even as we're not at home, we're not in the office, so we're at home. We make sure that even at home, we also conserve energy. We also conserve fuel. So it requires really all of us here, and
Mm.
hopefully, we will still be able to. There will still be oil actually coming in, except that it will be more expensive. It will be
Okay.
sourced from other places, possibly, or it will be using a different route
Okay.
other than the Strait of Hormuz, making it
Mm-mm.
more expensive. And so there will still be oil. It will not, like after 50 days, then we will not have any more oil. It's just that, like I said, it will be more expensive. And so the
Mm-mm.
longer we can extend the life of that buffer stock, the better it will be for us.
Okay. Okay. And that's part of the energy austerity measures you
That's
said,
right.
Edilion. And also you mentioned about there's an upcoming oil supply that will come from countries besides Middle Eastern countries such as UAE, Saudi Arabia, and since oil and you mentioned that oil coming from another source will be much expensive than where we usually get our oil supply. Would that constitute saving uh, or extending the shelf life or the supply life of that particular incoming oil supply from that another source?
Yeah. It will still be the austerity measures now that will extend. the life of that buffer. But like I said, in terms of
Mm-mm.
getting it from, let's say we increase our orders from Malaysia, from Brunei, and again, assuming that they can be able to supply. But that means that other countries will be doing that as well.
Mm-mm.
Getting more of their oil outside of the Middle East, and that would push up
Okay.
prices. And
Okay.
therefore, it's really important that we reduce that demand, because uh, that's the way
Mm.
that we can dampen
Mm-mm.
the price pressure
Okay.
on oil.
Okay. Also, I remember Yusek Edilion, there was another oil discovery in the Malampaya gas field there off the coast of Palawan. So would that help to, uh, uh, will that help on the energy supply of our country?
Yeah. Just to correct me, Jerome, no, that's actually natural gas.
Natural gas,
So
okay.
not oil. Yeah. And
Mm.
that's the reason why we have been promoting for let's say electric vehicles, because we do have diversified sources of energy for our electricity. So even as let's say
Mm-mm.
you're using an electric vehicles, then you charge it. That electricity actually is coming from different sources, including renewables, for which we have a number of
Mm-mm.
supplies. No?
Mm-mm.
So not just the natural gas, of course, is one of them. We also have a renewable energy, the geothermal, the wind, the solar. So
Mm-mm.
must diversify. Yes.
Okay. But all of those renewable energy sources are enough to supply the energy demands of the country.
Right now they are not yet all online, so they have been installing, they have been putting up those RE sources. It takes some time for them to really construct that particular plant,
Mm-mm.
quote unquote, and then make it online and then connect it to the grid. So I think towards the end of the year there will be more of them that will be coming in online, and therefore
Mm.
it's still really individuals, families, uh, really
Mm-mm.
extending
Mm-mm.
that and practicing austerity measures with respect to fuel consumption.
Oh, okay, okay. So we are yet to or those renewable energies are yet to be implemented, and but in the meantime, we you are advising the public to implement energy saving measures so that we can or contribute to um, save the energy, because as we know, the oil supply and energy supply is continuously running out in the next few coming months, and also this Middle East conflict is not yet over. So those part of the measures that you
Yeah.
are suggesting, Yusek Edilion.
Yes, and we also know that certain some families, some homes, and even establishments
Mm-mm.
have renewable energy sources. You have big conglomerates having solar panels installed in their offices, in their
Mm-mm.
buildings. So we encourage the use of all these RE sources, and I know also that some of them are already connected to the grid, so that
Mm.
if there's excess power that they're able to generate, then it can add to the overall power supply that
Mm-mm.
can be used by those who don't have these RE sources. So for those who can, again, who can afford, those who can afford to install their own RE sources. So again, that is highly advisable at this time.
Okay. Okay. So also on the Middle East conflict issue that affects our energy supply, the president mentioned a potential temporary reduction in fuel excise tax if the Dubai crude oil reaches $80 per barrel. From the point of view of the Department of Economy Planning and Development, at what point does the inflation pain outweigh the loss in government revenue? Because as we know, we're about to implement a fuel subsidy program. So, would that have any effect on the government revenue, Yusek Edilion?
Yes, most definitely. With respect to the fuel subsidy program, that's part of it will be sourced from continuing appropriation from 2025. So that much is is already covered. Um, and then, like I said, it will be there will be triggers. So when it reaches this much, then we kick in the fuel subsidy program, and then if it really reaches that $80, and we still need to agree on the mechanism whether we will wait for $80 consecutive for 1 week or for 2 weeks or whatever. When we had it before during the train, we actually said that if it breaches $80 for 3 consecutive months, then the fuel subsidy program kicks in. Now, in this case, that is, those details still need to be ironed out. There is some agreement as to that breach level, which is the $80 per barrel. So right now, I think it's at $73, $74 per barrel.
It's still far.
So hopefully it doesn't really get to that point. And of course, we do hope that the retailers would also heed the call of our energy secretary that if they can stagger the price increase, that will also be a big help.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we have discussed about the energy measures that the government is taking right now when it amid the Middle East conflict. But we will go into this topic regarding the situation of our overseas Filipino workers in the Middle East, because there's a 2.5 million Filipinos, approximately, the population there, working and living in that particular region, and right now those Filipinos are working in different sectors. So we will have more discussions regarding the overseas Filipino workers and how because those countries or those Filipinos working in those Middle East countries are sending back remittances back here in the Philippines. So how is that affecting our Philippine economy besides the oil industry? So we will have more discussions with Undersecretary Rosemary Edilion, the Undersecretary for Planning and Policy Group of the Department of Economy, Planning and Development, when Front and Center returns after these short messages.
Time to celebrate kulturang Pinoy. Tradisyon, musika, sining, literatura at iba pa. Anything and everything fun and Filipino. Ito ang Pinoy Kultura.
Naaalala niyo pa ba ang mga katagang ito?
Amoy pawis, amoy araw. Ano ba yan? Puro sugat ka na naman! Bakit wala na naman kapares yung tsinelas mo? Ang dungis mo!
Ma! Tama na! Ayos lang, di ba? Masaya naman tayo naglalaro sa kalye ng sipa, patintero, agawang base, habulan, jolen, trumpo, text, at marami pang iba.
Some Filipino games just show how creative we are. All we need are players and nothing else. Ang saya balikan ng ating kabataan.
Kain,
Tulog.
laro, laro, at laro.
O ano, game na?
Pagkabilang kong 3, nakatago na kayo!
Yan ang Pinoy Kultura, because our culture is cool.
Front and Center. Front and Center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Welcome back to Front and Center here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Still with me, Jerome Toledo. And we still have the Undersecretary for Planning and Policy Group of the Department of Economy, Planning and Development, Undersecretary Rosemary Edilion. So thank you again for staying on the line, Yusek Edilion. So let's go here to the overseas Filipino side, because the Middle East is often called the backbone of our overseas employment. As mentioned earlier, we have more than 2 million Filipinos working and living there in that particular region. So, if the conflict escalates, Yusek Edilion, we aren't just looking at the safety crisis, but also a remittance crisis. How is the debt factor or factoring a potential dip or slowdown in OFW remittances into our GDP growth forecasts?
Yeah. In terms of the GDP growth forecast, I think it's still too early to get to that. No? In terms of OFWs, so not counting the families that are there, there's about 1.1 million living in the Middle East and then the affected areas. So we also looked at the other countries. I think in the Middle East is about 1.0 million. So if you include those other affected countries, then that would amount to about 1 million OFWs. If including their families, then that's when the number gets to be much higher. And then in terms of remittances, again, in terms of the latest statistics we have, the remittances from our Middle East OFWs account for about 17% of the remittances. So we have done some calculations here. Let's say if it will let's say about 10% reduction. 10% will be repatriated, and then also the remittances. But we also looked at the our previous experiences. As you know, this is not the first time that there is a Middle East crisis. And so we looked at our previous experiences, and then we have seen that many of our OFWs tend to again adopt a wait and see attitude, because they also know that pretty soon sober minds will prevail. There's still the diplomatic channel being implemented. There's negotiations also being conducted, and therefore we do not see still a large scale repatriation. We hope that will still be the case. But in case we do have, like I said, a 10% repatriation, and of course the equivalent also in terms of remittances, reduction in remittances, then we're seeing something like a 0.2 percentage points reduction in the GDP growth. So meaning a slowdown. It will still be within the band of our target growth rate for the year. And again, of course, this one will be smaller or higher depending on how long this crisis will last, and if the markets will not be able to immediately adjust to it. So as you know, let's say for the Russia Ukraine, there was an immediate impact. Yes, there was that shock to the entire to the global economy. But again, over time, the markets were able to adjust. And so these are the things that we are taking into account.
Okay, so the percentage of remittance rate will be that will be affected into our GDP growth forecast. It depends or lies if the situation in the Middle East will end sooner, or it will protract into a longer conflict. So we have to wait and see, as you mentioned, Yusek Edilion. So wait and see development here regarding this particular event. So and also that's 0.2% that will be affected in the GDP. So meaning it will have a minimal effect on our GDP forecast or GDP growth.
Yes, hopefully. Again, looking at the previous experiences with crisis, when like I said, our OFWs tend to adopt a wait and see attitude. So they don't they don't really right away volunteer to be repatriated.
Repatriated, yeah.
Of course, it's another matter if they're with their family, you have your kids there, then probably those will be the first ones to
Okay.
volunteer
So
to be
so it's
repatriated.
a good thing, Yusek Idilion, that they are implementing that kind of approach, wait and see.
Yes, that has been the experience before, and we assume that that will also be what will happen this time. Because, like I said, this is
Mm.
not the first time that there is a crisis in that region. So they tend to, and as you know, countries in that region also tend to have security measures in place,
Mm-mm.
some protective measures, defensive measures that are also in place.
For the case of Filipinos that have returned here in the country, so they have repatriated back here in the country. So, what's the plan for the reintegration into local labor market, so that they do not fall into to some sort of poverty, Yusek De Leon? Because
Yeah,
the
yeah.
opportunities there, the employment there, or the salary that they receive while abroad is we have to admit the wage there is significantly higher than here in the countries. But what's the plan for them?
Mhm. Yes, the Department of Migrant Workers already has a number of reintegration programs, and this will now kick in. There really is a budget for that as well. Again, as requested, and I think there's a minimum amount of assistance to be given, and then if they do intend to get into a business, then there is still that program. I'm not that familiar though with the amounts involved. But I just know that with respect to the menu, they do have a number of reintegration programs that are already in place and can be availed of by our returning YFWs.
Okay, so nonetheless, there's still opportunities waiting for our repatriated
Right. Yeah, that's
Filipinos.
right.
Okay, all right. So a few more points before I let you go, Yusek Edilion, because as you mentioned, as we know, this is not the first time the Middle East crisis has rattled us here in the Philippines. There's crisis that happened a few years ago when the U.S. Attacked Iran, and also Iran attacked Israel. So, but those conflicts as is not as large as we have experienced or we are seeing right now. And also, I understand that there is a long-term program called Ambition Natin 2040. That's the framework. So how are we moving the Philippines away from these extreme vulnerability to global oil shocks?
Yeah, that's right, and that's another reason why, uh, let's say for our energy plan, we do have a Philippine Energy Development Plan, which is long term, all the way 2040. But what
Mm.
we are the the grand design, the desired outcome is to have energy security, and therefore it really is it's a matter of making sure that we have diversified sources. There's no over dependence on just one source of energy, and that's also the reason that even with respect to oil, we have to make sure that we have a diversified market. We source it from all over, not just from one part of the country. Uh, Interestingly enough, we actually we have started our study on what we call an intergenerational report,
Mm-mm.
and looking at the what's been happening now and the policies that we have in place, and to see if what becomes of our ambition at in 2040, and what are corrective measures, because as you know, that's still 15, 14 plus years away. And therefore, there's still a lot that we can do. I think corrective measures that we can do in order to make sure that every Filipino will have will be empowered, enabled actually to attain his or her ambition. Uh, as I said, the study has just started. We intend to be able to submit it, or at least report it to Congress by July of this year. And so for now, it's really still about the crisis that we have on hand, which is the Middle East crisis. And like I said, for now, we have a spate of a menu of interventions that needs to be done, first of all, right away. And then once it reaches a certain triggered level, then this one kicks in, and so on and so forth.
And that's good that the government is on top of the situation to address the effects of the Middle East crisis, not just on our overseas Filipino workers, but also on on its effects in the Philippine economy. So that's a good thing that the Philippine government has plans in store for us Filipinos here in the Philippines and also abroad. Okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us in the program, Undersecretary Rosemary Edilion, the Undersecretary for Policy and Planning Group of the Department of the Economy Planning and Development.
Yes, thank you very much, Jerome.
Okay.
God bless.
All right. You too. All right. And with that, we now conclude this edition of Front and Center here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Together with our technical team headed by Mr. Milo Janela. On Warcast and audio streaming, we have Hiro Lucero. Also on our intern, we have Mr. Greg on the sideline. Thank you. And this is your host, Jerome Toledo. Until next time, mabuhay.
You have just heard and watched Front and Center. Front and Center. Join us again for another edition here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Front and Center.